If there was one thing that we knew coming into this game, it was that Chelsea were going to be dominant and West Ham were going to be in a shambles. If you had to look at the stats, West Ham had more corners than Chelsea. They had the same amount of shots as Chelsea, just 3 less on target. They also had about 10% less possession than Chelsea, but still, it was a game where West Ham were out of it, even though they looked like they had a chance. Now, in my opinion, El Hadji Malik Diouf has been a great signing for West Ham, and he really does bring a lot to their style of play. And Lucas Paqueta, obviously, we know recently he was under ban for potential betting allegations or working with the bookies type of thing, but he's back in action, and an early goal in the 6th minute. West Ham took the lead, and some people would have been shocked. They would have thought, what's going on? Are they back from that terrible game that they had against Sunderland last week? But no, it was not to be. It took João Pedro 9 minutes later to open up the scoring for Chelsea to make it 1-1, and then he assisted Pedro Neto about 8 minutes later, and that's when the game opened up for Chelsea. And to me, that's when the floodgates opened. And just before Pedro Neto's goal though, Nicholas Füllkrug had a goal disallowed that would have had West Ham 2-1 up, and that could have possibly been another resurgence, and that's why in football, moments can change everything. But as I said, once Pedro Neto's goal came in, the floodgates had basically opened, and once Enzo Fernandez's goal was scored, it just seemed like Chelsea were going to put a lot more past West Ham, but West Ham were fortunate to only go into the halftime break at 3-1. And 9 minutes after the restart, Moises Caicedo went and got a goal for himself to make it 4-1 to Chelsea, and 4 minutes later, João Pedro grabbed his second assist of the game to give it to Trevor Chalobah. Now, if you had seen my review last week, you would have heard me rave about João Pedro and the type of player that he is. And as I said in the Club World Cup, he was phenomenal. But tonight, I saw glimpses of that player again. And just in general, Chelsea's style of play, the way that everyone is clicking, I think Enzo and Moises Caicedo in that midfield, it's just something monstrous. And to have done this without Cole Palmer, what on earth would have happened if Palmer was in this squad tonight? West Ham though now, after 2 games, have conceded 8 goals and only scored 1, and I think that Graham Potter is in a lot of trouble here. He is in some hot water, and I don't know what West Ham are going to be doing, but Chelsea on the other hand are looking so bright. Maresca has sort of found his identity, and these players are playing it. And it's going to be exciting to see what happens as the season progresses for them.